Shout out to the people in my comments that let me know that there were 2 different notes posted. And I did say that I was on her Instagram and that I didn't see it on her Facebook because I didn't see her Facebook at all. But this is what she posted on her Instagram on the first day of school. And I mistakenly thought that this was the message that was circulating as her last note. But this note actually says, "My little first grader, may today and every day of school this year be wonderful. There's nothing you can't do. You're so smart, strong, and handsome. Keep pushing for the stars. Mommy will always be your biggest fan. Love you to the moon and back, son. Mommy," with a heart. And the first day of school was August 18th of 2025. And this is what she actually wrote on 9/8 of 2025. "Happy Monday, son. Today is a fresh start to this, and you can start off strong. Always remain yourself. You're the coolest, smartest, and funniest kid I know. I love you so much, and you make me so proud. Have a great day. Mommy loves you." And at the very top of that note, you see that she said, "That man gonna make sure he has his lunch. Don't be caring if we late or nothing." Now, this is what people have been telling me, that they knew that she was running late because of what she posted on Facebook. Now, even with this note, I don't have the date attached to it, but I did find it on Google. And I also know the news has been reporting it that way. I just don't have a date attached to it. But whoever has screenshot the one of them that I did see, it just said 1 hour ago. So thank y'all for the correction. One thing for sure and two for certain, it will be determined in court, because those cell phones will tell them everything they need to know if they look into that part of it. That they were stalking her possibly on Facebook to know her whereabouts and to show up there knowing that they would see her. That would be premeditated. That would be no coinky dink. And that would explain why they put up at the same time. Because we have to remember, it was said that Carlos was coming from the alley. He was seen coming from the alley at the same time that Romeca was coming from the school. Right? And now it also falls in line with Romeca was calling him that morning to ask him to drop off the son because she had picked up to go to work, and he refused and allegedly blocked her number. Now, he told this to a highly supporter that he talks to. So make it make sense. Why would he lie on himself like that and say that he actually spoke to her? He would know that she's going to be there because he knows that she's running late. Now, I don't know. But another thing, this also falls in line with witness 3 saying that Carlos jumped out of the car looking like he was up to something, looking mischievous, correct? And also the alleged school employee that said that Romeca stopped like suddenly because he stopped in front of her. I mean, in my opinion, what would make her slam on her brakes? What would make her brakes make that sound? And witness 3 also said that Romeca jumped out of the vehicle like, what, are you kidding me? I just dropped off my kid. Almost like, because she said they were arguing because she was pulling up and they parked or something like that. So that's how close they were. Let's remember what they said.
Right here. Oh, behind the bushes, so you can't even see that car yet. Yeah. So actually, if you was driving and you think if you turn, you can't even see that car. If you jump off your son, you can't see that person. They had that car sitting in the street, so you can see that car. Oh, you can see that car. They was in the street, but when she shot her, she was in the street. Oh, okay. When she shot her the first time, she hit the ground. She shot that girl 3 times. Yes, well, she shot her twice. She wanted to clone jammed and one went on the hood of the car. Her car. She shot the first time. The first bullet took her down. Yeah, I mean, you could have fought her then. Yeah. And this is school right here. Yeah, this is school over here. Look at that. This is where she dropped her baby off right there. Uh-huh. She was on that side. She turned around, did a U-turn. They was out the car standing up, so that's what made her stop. I wouldn't have stopped. Yeah. But I heard his car had her blocked in. See, this is a narrow street. Right. Yeah. If his car, you had to see them. Yeah. So when she turned, she saw him and she stopped right away. She stopped her car. Like, you motherfucker, they got the argument and stuff like this. They going back and forth with the argument. And I'm looking at them like, damn. And I didn't even see the girl, so I got to walk it down. I walked in, because I'm like, why is she arguing with that nigga like that? Why don't they just go on? I'm like, so when I see the other girl now, I'm like, oh, that's why because I'm like, I didn't understand why they were going at it so hard. Yeah. You saw that girl standing there. So was him and Romeca fighting? No. Well, yeah. It wasn't none of this. They was arguing back and forth, and him pushing her away, get away, all that type of shit. Him and Romeca fighting? No. Well, yeah. It wasn't none of this. They was arguing back and forth, and him pushing her away, get away, all that type of shit. Yeah. Well, I as a man, I'm like, dude, all you had to do was look. You go your way. I'm gonna handle this and let's squash it. Nah, it shouldn't have got that fight. Should have got your ass down here. Right. He should have stayed at home. Right. Thank y'all. Yes. Amen. Yes. We cannot see over there, and these are the people that work at the school. They said that she couldn't see, they couldn't see. But when she did get over there and see, yes. He was already standing out the car, Carlos. Was standing out the car, yes. And her car was right where that Jeep was, Holly's, and then that other, Romeca's car was in the street, and it was a car in front of her, right there. He said right where the Jeep was, right there where that Jeep is. Yes. And Carlos lives over there. You see where that black, up over them buildings. Yeah. Which is around the corner.
At first, it looked like Carlos and her were talking like fine, but then the other Miss Johnson popped up out of nowhere and started arguing too. At first, it looked like Carlos and her were talking like fine, but then the other Miss Johnson popped up out of nowhere and started arguing too. I was actually the one at the scene. So I was the one that was yelling out to arrest her because everybody wasn't doing anything. I was actually the one who called the cops first. And I saw them when they were fighting in the beginning. And I was like, this is not right. He was slamming her with a door when she was standing in her door frame, not even close to the female on the other side. So she was literally standing on the other side of the road, and her baby daddy was literally slamming the door on her back. So she went back into her car, came back out, and then this was when the baby daddy walked towards the other baby mama. After this happened, he grabbed her by the waist. She tried to wiggle away from him. Her arm was like literally almost getting free with his arm around her neck this time because he was holding her by the waist in the beginning and she wiggled out, After this happened, he had her in the almost looking like a headlock to me on the side, and then the other baby mama stated, "I'm gonna shoot you, bitch. Watch me shoot you, bitch." And he stated, she's gonna go get her gun. She's gonna go get her gun. Watch. And after this happened, she ran to the passenger side of her vehicle, grabbed her gun, went around, and when the woman, the mother, who slipped away from him for at least maybe a good second, as soon as she slipped away, she shot her in the face, on her side, and in her thigh. And I saw him holding her for a split second. Maybe he was in shock. This supposedly was your first baby mama, because when I was on the bus, I heard him and her screaming, and she was literally saying, She was like, I just dropped off my fucking baby. What? What? I just dropped off my fucking baby. Are you guys kidding me? As soon as I got off the 21 bus. And trust me, they got it. You know what I mean? She said she dropped her baby off and you go. You don't know who she is. You know what I mean? And I was like, arrest her. She needs to get arrested. You know what I mean? They weren't even thinking. There was another black female cop who came up and a Mexican short cop. And I pointed out, I was like, the gun's in her car. The gun's in the car. Why wouldn't you give him the gun if supposedly this was, a self-defense? You know what I mean? If it was like, hey, here's the gun. This is what happened. It was no self-defense. I swear to you, it did not look like no self-defense. It looked like you because you were just angry or something. You know what I mean? And to me, when it wasn't it. She the female that got shot. She wasn't with any gun. She didn't have no weapon, no knives, no nothing. So what was it that frightened you so much? You had to run around your car, go into your passenger seat or whatever the case is, and you reached in to get your gun. Shoot this woman. So to me, it was a senseless. They were arguing because she was pulling up, and I guess they ended up parking. Why was her car parked on the sidewalk? Because I seen she ran towards the sidewalk to get her gun, and it was a small black vehicle, and he had a black truck, I think. And literally, he came out of his truck looking like real, like he wasn't like on anything but being like mischievous, like nothing but like what was like he was planning something, you know what I mean? And I called the cops on the first time I called the cops, it was because he was attacking her, and the other girl was just yelling at her and she was arguing back. So there was nothing going on for her to be like, oh, I'm gonna step back over here to go get my gun. She was nowhere near her.
So the part of the video that you just heard is what I heard at first before I got the rest of the interview. So you will hear some things that you just heard because I think people chopped the video up or whatever. So I left that portion in it. And now we're going to listen to the other part. And I'm sure, just like I heard some things I had never heard, you are going to possibly hear some things that you had never heard the witness say. A little bit more details. So check this out. Let me know what you think about what you're hearing. Hit that hype and like button. Subscribe to the channel. And let's talk in the comments, y'all.
The other baby mama stated, I'm going to shoot you, bitch. Watch me shoot you, bitch. And he stated, she's going to go get her gun. She's going to go get her gun. Watch. And after this happened, she ran to the passenger side of her vehicle, grabbed her gun, went around. And when the woman, the mother, who slipped away from him for at least maybe a good second, as soon as she slipped away, she shot her. And she shot her in the face, on her side, and in her thigh. And I saw him holding her for a split second. Maybe he was in shock. But after he was in shock, I guess he picked her up. And when she was falling, a gush of blood fell, out of her body. And I was like, what the fuck is he doing? I don't know. Everybody else sees movies, you know what I mean? And they see put pressure on the wound. Why weren't you putting pressure on the wound? Why weren't you caring enough? This supposedly was your first baby mama. Because when I was on the bus, I heard him and her screaming. And she was literally saying, she was like, I just dropped off my fucking baby. What? I just dropped off my fucking baby. Are you guys kidding me? As soon as I got off the 21 bus. And trust me, they got it. You know what I mean? Everything that I literally had to, I wasn't going to let her die like that. I literally looked into her eyes. That hurt me. She said she dropped her baby off and you go. You don't know who she is. You know what I mean? And I was like, arrest her. She needs to get arrested. You know what I mean? They weren't even thinking. There was another black female cop who came up and a Mexican short cop. And I pointed out, I was like, the gun's in her car. The gun's in the car. Why wouldn't you give him the gun if supposedly this was, a self-defense? You know what I mean? If it was like, hey, here's the gun. This is what happened. It was no self-defense. I swear to you, it did not look like no self-defense. It looked like you shot her because you were just angry or something. You know what I mean? And to me, when she shot her, it wasn't the female that got shot, she wasn't with any gun. She didn't have no weapon, no knives, no nothing. So what was it that frightened you so much? You had to run around your car, go into your passenger seat or whatever the case is, and you reached in to get your gun and shoot this woman. So to me, it was a senseless. They were arguing because she was pulling up, and I guess they ended up parking. Why was her car parked on the sidewalk? Because I seen she ran towards the sidewalk to get her gun, and it was a small black vehicle, and he had a black truck, I think. And literally, he came out of his truck looking real, he wasn't on anything but being mischievous, nothing but what was he was planning something, you know what I mean? And I called the cops on the first time I called the cops, it was because he was attacking her, and the other girl was just yelling at her and she was arguing back. So there was nothing going on for her to be like, oh, I'm gonna step back over here to go get my gun. She was nowhere near her. But that's all I gotta say. And I know for a fact that she did get arrested, but he got let go. So hopefully, for what I said and what I witnessed, I just don't want to be, put on the stand or anything to say. I did put a statement in because I know it's necessary. It was ridiculous. I'm a mom too. I wouldn't want my baby to hear like that, and I wouldn't want me to be laying in the ground. She's a sister, she's a mother, she's a daughter, she's somebody to everybody. She's a friend, and that was bogus to just stand there and look at her like she was nothing. To me, I was literally so mad. My boyfriend was also really mad. He was yelling at them. I don't know if you noticed. He was there too, and I was on the phone with him while all this was happening. I would call back at him, and he was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Please hurry!" And I even had him run that way. I was like, "You need to run that way to go see if he's okay. Go see if everything's okay. What's going on over there? What's going on? Is she laying in the? Go see if she's okay." And it's just senseless that I felt like I had to go send my boyfriend over there because he was just standing over her, like like I don't know, but I'm so sorry. Yeah, they were by Miss Meeks' car. Miss Meeks was standing in her door frame, and Carlos had the driver's side door, and he was slamming the door into her. Trust me, that's why I called the cops right away, because it looked like to me it was like a domestic violence. She was standing by her trunk of her car, and she was arguing with Miss Meeks about being there, I guess. And that's when I heard Miss Meeks yell out, "I just dropped off my fucking kid. Are you kidding me?" Like, she was like, "What the fuck's wrong with you guys?" Like it was a different, like, argument. Like, it wasn't even like she was arguing with her. You know what I mean? Yeah, she did get back out of her car, but it was because the other woman was antagonizing her, and she was acting like she wanted her to come out the car. So then she came out of the car, and I don't think she expected to get shot. No one ever like expects to get shot. You know what I mean? But to me, I felt like what I seen, it was unnecessary. It was senseless, and I don't know what came over her to even think to go get her gun. You know what I mean? Like, I thought they gave people training for that. I just, from what I literally, I haven't been online or anything, and I haven't been looking up, but I went on YouTube and I saw your thing, and you were saying to tell the truth, so I figured I'd come on. Yeah, because he was slamming it so hard, I feel like she was just trying to, like, kind of get away from him. She went back in. No, because the girl literally ran from the side of the sidewalk and then went in front of her car and Miss Meek's car and started like yelling stuff out. And that's where I actually got off the bus, and then I started getting close, and then like, just to hear what was going on, and it started getting hectic. And then at that point, I was already telling the cops they needed to hurry to come and get the situation handled, because they were in the middle of the street arguing, and I was like, he literally was slamming the door on her back, like, "Please go help, please help." So, yeah. And then after, she ran to the side. No, she was yelling that over the hood, right? But when she came out of the car, she said, "What?" Like, she was like, "What, bitch? Like, you keep coming up to my car. What's up?" Because she kept coming up to her car, and like every time she would go back into her car, she was like, trying to get her out of the car. So then that's what to me, it seemed like the only reason why she came out of the car was because the other woman, Miss Johnson, was like antagonizing her. He was just standing there looking. Well, I just seen him looking like he was just looking, and to me, I didn't know what his plans were, what the plans were between each other. To me, what I witnessed is, that he was standing right next to her, and he didn't say anything, but they were arguing. And then once Miss Meeks walked up to Carlos, Miss Johnson ran to the sidewalk, and then Carlos snatched her up by the waist, and then she was wiggling out, like, almost. And then when she almost wiggled out, he had her by the neck because she was like wiggling down. Um, I honestly, I just seen that when she got out of got out of it, like, she was literally going the other way. She wasn't going towards her. So it just looked like she was trying to get away. At this point, she was scared. And I seen, like, she was scared. Like, it was a different, like, when you see somebody's movement and you could just tell, like, run to. You know what I mean? That's what I seen. And when she, like, there was no reason for, like, Carlos had her already. You know what I mean? There was no reason for her to go get her gun. It was unnecessary, I think. But
And you
and
said
she didn't
that
have it.
Holly and Carlos, they came in separate cars.
Yeah, they did. Holly's car was already parked, right? Holly came out of the parked car, and Miss Carlos was in a black truck vehicle. I think it was a Mercedes, and Miss Meeks was in the white car. So she was already, like, I think she had, well, she just said, and she yelled out that she was just dropping off her kid. Like, what's going on? To me, it looked like like, it looked weird. You know what I mean? Because I was telling the police that she had her baby inside her car. So I was like, "That's her baby. The baby's in the car." I was like, "You need to arrest her. Like, why aren't you guys arresting her?" And then she was all like, "Oh, and by the way, I don't know if anybody caught the video or anything, but Carlos goes up to Holly and fist bumps her and says, it was what was it? It was self-defense, right? It was self-defense." And she was like, "Yeah, it was self-defense." Yeah, and he goes up to her, and they were both said, they looked at each other, and it was self-defense, right? He was like, "Yeah, it was self-defense."
Why did they have two different cars there to meet her?
I'm actually not sure. I didn't, I just witnessed what I plenty of people on there, plenty of people on the sidewalk that they were shouting out to arrest her and everything. And the cops did, at least they did, did their job, and they did, what they had to do, because, it wasn't for them. She wouldn't be, like, in handcuffs right now. You know what I mean? What's it called? She called me a snitch. And then I said, "I don't care. I'm going to find complaints." And then, what's it called? She was frustrated, and she was saying, she was like, "I have a concealed and carry." And I was like, "I don't give a fuck. You shot somebody." You know what I mean? And the other girl was like, "Yeah, the gun's in the car." And I was like, "Bro, I've been said the gun's in the car. It's in the passenger side. You guys you just stashed it for what? What you stashed it for? If you was like a self-defense, then why the fuck did you just, like, why didn't you just hand them the gun? You know what I mean?" But she didn't hand them the gun. She hid the gun. You know what I mean? So to me, I was like, "Bro, what was this? Like, what was this right now?" The cops were like, they're like, who was it? Who was it? I was like, her, arrest her, and they arrested her. She had blood all over her because, so I was like, I would assume they would have arrested her. You know what I mean? Yeah, when she was walking away, she looked at me and looked at what's it called, my boyfriend, and she was like, whatever, y'all fucked up for this shit. It was self defense. It was self defense. I got a restraining order on her. Yeah, so I was just like, it doesn't matter. Like, you shot someone, you didn't even like you think to be like, hey, like, let me like rethink this. Not why would you pull out a gun? You know what I mean? He turned away and he ran to his car. He wasn't even like paying attention to Miss Meeks or anything at all. At that time, my boyfriend started telling him like, "Don't you feel remorse? Don't you feel bogus? Like, you didn't do anything. You just stood there. Like, you didn't even say anything to him, like to like support her, like back her up." He was like, "Isn't that your first love? Didn't you have a baby with her, bro? Like, she just dropped off her kid. Are you kidding me? Like, you're a coward. You're a coward." And then he looked like it wasn't him being like sad or like anything. He was like, it looked like he was mad about something because of like his ego was hurt, you know. So he like tried to run at us, like me and my guy, and he was trying to like act like he was gonna fight us. And that's when the cop came in between us. And then one of the cops was like, leave the scene, leave the scene. And I was like, well, I need to put my statement in. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put my statement in. And then Carlos walked away when he was like giving me a look, But my guy was literally standing there too, like, what the hell? But at the same time, he didn't get to see most of it. I did, I know that he was doing it out of, the goodness of his heart. Cause I was like, I honestly was crying and I was like, hey, please go and help her. Like, I was like, I don't know, like, what made her do that right now? And he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, please go save her. Please go save her. I don't want her to die. And I like started crying because I was like, looking at her and I like started freaking out because I just, the scene, everything, it was just like horrific. I was like so like in shock, I guess you would say, literally. And I just felt like everybody's reaction, her reaction, everything, it made it seem like nobody cared. And I was like with tears in my eyes, arrest her. I was like, I don't know what else I need to do. I will sign complaints. I don't know what else you need me to do. You need to arrest her. Like, I felt so much like rage because no one was like understanding what calmness and how cruel they could be just standing there, him without tears in his eyes and her just standing there like if she's like she had the right to take somebody's life. She had the right to snatch somebody from this earth. You know what I mean? Like, and to think to be like, let me look at her and tell her like everything's gonna be okay. He didn't even do that. You know what I mean? He literally like looked at her, stood there, and didn't do anything. Like, his face was like, when somebody dies and you love them, and even though you might have a little like, hate or whatever case is, you still have that heart in you. It should have hurt it. There should have been at least a tear in your eye, and there was not one. I just that's pretty much it. But that's all I gotta really say, and I really do thank you for letting me speak out and telling the truth about what I seen and what I heard and everything. Yeah, it's like a baby. So, well, I just hope that they find grievance and that no matter what it is that they come out stronger. And I hope that whatever I did or what I could do for them, like I hope everything goes well. And I hope that they give that baby as much as love as he deserves, because it was senseless for somebody to take his mommy. And that was the last thing that he ever seen. I guess yeah. You know what I feel like? I feel like when I seen everybody, at first it looked like Carlos and her were talking like fine, but then the other Miss Johnson popped up out of nowhere and started arguing too. Yeah, because all I know was she was yelling out that she dropped off her baby. But I honestly do feel like the cops did their job, because at the end when but my thing is they did do the backtrack and they got my story. Everything was too crazy on the scene. They were all trying to like calm everybody down, and we were all screaming our heads off. You know what I mean? And it was like a huge scene. There was a lot of people around us, and one person even said like, oh, don't even give him your number, don't even give him nothing. Why would you snitch? And it was, and I was like, I'm not a bystander. I don't do that shit. Like, I'm not gonna have somebody just die right there and no one's gonna say anything. I was like, no one's helping her. I was like, she don't got nobody. He's over here all kissing her ass. I was like, I'm not doing that shit. I was like, what the fuck? Who was gonna speak up for her? And I was like in the crowd literally yelling at everybody because I was like, this is not cool. Like, I don't know why everybody, and to think that even somebody from the crowd went up to him to shake up with him, and then when she shook up with him, yeah,
like shake hands.
Yeah, and she got blood on him, on her. She got blood on her head because he came up to shake up with her. Like, after he literally like was, I'm not just like, I'm just so, I was like, what the hell, like, what's going on, like, and the girl was like, you got blood on my hand, bro. But like, you still went up to him to say what's up. You know what I mean? So to me, I was just like, what's going on? You know what I mean? But all I know is that what I seen was, it was looking kind of funny. It was looking kind of weird. I was like, no one's gonna say anything. He's over here not even trying to tell nobody nothing. Besides that, what's it called? She was being like, she was being crazy, and that it was a self defense. It was a self defense. But from what I saw, it was not no self defense. She was nowhere near you. Like, she was nowhere near you at all, like, whatsoever. She had nothing in her hands. She didn't have no gun. She didn't have no knife. She had her bare hands. She said, she was like, what, you want to keep acting like you come up to my car, bitch? Out, like, what? I could beat your ass, like, what, bitch? And she went to go get a gun. You know what I mean? Like, that was senseless. Like, I thought, like, we were, better than this. Like, I thought we were grown. You know what I mean? Like, where were you scared for your life to where you went to go get a gun? You know what I mean? Like, you already talking shit to her in front of her car, and you were telling her all kinds of shit for her to come out her car to tell you, like, what? You were saying you were going to beat my ass, so come back over here, you know? Come beat my ass then, but then you want to be like, nah, bitch, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to shoot you. Carlos says, yeah, she's going to go get her gun. She's going to go get her gun. She'll shoot you. And boom, she gets shot because it was almost like, I don't know, it looked like a movie to me. You know what I mean? It was so, like, I was so in shock to the point where I was like, is this even happening? You know? Yeah, I heard 5 rounds actually. Yeah, and the only reason the cop was on scene and he was unloading the gun and he was like, it froze. So the only reason why she stopped was because the gun got stuck. Otherwise, it probably would have she probably would have still kept shooting. I felt scared. I was literally screaming my head off. I was like, when I was witnessing it, I was close by the smoothie shop right there, and I ran back into the green line and I started telling everybody to stay in there because I didn't want anybody to get hurt. That they're shooting. She still has a gun while I'm on the phone with the cops. You know. So it was crazy because to the point where I was just like so scared to leave. There was little kids coming off the train, you know, going to school, you know what I mean? And it was like, I was like, I don't know what else to do. Like, this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? What just went down? You know, I was like so in shock. Like, how did that just happen? Like, from an argument, from like, you know, like fighting with nothing, not like bare hands, you know, you went from that to a gun, you know, like, and she's just like, I think she was smaller than her, you know, like, I was just like, what's going on? Like, I thought he had her in a, like, almost a headlock looking. I was like, this is like over like excessive. And I kept saying that. I was like, this was excessive. I feel like this was too much. Like, you guys did too much. He was like, nah. And he literally came up to me. He's like, shut the fuck up, you snitch, bitch. And he went up to my guy and he was talking about calm down. What's it called? Shut up already. No one wants to hear it. Because he didn't want nobody to hear what we were saying, you know? Because we like literally saw, like, my guy saw the last part and I saw like everything, you know? I was like, this is so sad. Like, and like, I watched her collapse and I saw, like, I was like, why wouldn't you go to her, like, you know, to hold her, to tell her, like, you know, like, why wouldn't you do anything, you know? But I don't know. It was just crazy to me. And I hope that, you know, me saying this is like, this is helping out. Like, that's pretty much all I have to say. And thank you for letting me talk. And I hope the rest of this video and whatever you have to say, you know, speaks the truth and allows everybody to understand what happened, you know, because I want everybody to know that she didn't have anything in her hands. She was, you know, defenseless herself towards somebody that had a gun, you know, and it didn't go down. I don't think she didn't think it was going to go down like this because she would have never got out of her car. I really don't think she would have if she saw the gun, you know. She just dropped off her kid. She actually like somehow squeezed out of his chokehold, right? And when she squeezed out, that's when the girl, Miss Johnson, shot her. No, she wasn't. It looked like she was walking the other way, like she was going around her car. Yeah, she shot her like it looked like almost like near her, like her side of her face. You know, like she got shot almost by her chin, I feel like, and then her thigh, and then her side. And when I saw her fall, like, and you know, I saw the blood splatting from her face. You know, so to me, that's why I was like, you guys need to come fast. Like, this needs to, like, you know, it was so like, it was so crazy. But thank you for letting me get it off my chest, and I hope that everything goes well. All right, and no matter what, I do send out prayers for her family and for her mama. Holly came out of the parked car. Holly came out of the parked car.